What's going on, Fightful friends and fans? Tempest is here representing Fightful with the one and only Anthony Ogogo here at the All In Media Scrum. Anthony, thank you very much for taking.
You good?
I'm very good. I'm getting to talk with the governor himself.
Governor.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Mate, an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. So first of all, I gotta ask, we're here All In weekend, Wembley Stadium. What does it mean as somebody who grew up watching wrestling in the UK to not only see wrestling come back to Wembley Stadium for the first time in 31 years? Unbelievable. But what does that mean for UK wrestling, the fandom that UK fans have for pro wrestling, all of the above? What is this weekend?
Mate, you said it. It's unbelievable. And that's the word that gets thrown around too much. Unbelievable. When you think of it, you cannot believe it's happening. I was watching AEW at the time, Dynamite, when Tony announced that we were coming to Wembley Stadium, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, stadium? I thought maybe the arena there, which is Wembley Arena, but like the stadium, I thought, that's got to be a typo, surely. Big fucking typo. but I was like, nah, and it's happened. No, it's happened. We sold so many tickets on day one. We sold so many tickets without even announcing a match on the card. And I mean, I've been coming here my entire life. I've seen so many football games here. I've seen artists here, sing here, perform here. I love this place. This is the greatest stadium in the world, if you ask me, or any English person, any Brit out there. So to be a tiny little part in the company that's performing here it's awe-inspiring. It's unbelievable. It means so much for wrestling. And the thing is, the main thing for me is like the great thing what Tony Khan, I think the best thing he did for creating AEW was getting us on ITV. Now, ITV in the UK is terrestrial TV. Like every house in the country has channel 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, no matter what. Now you can get Sky, which is our cable, and that's more money. But everyone has channel 1, 2, 3, 4, and our channel 3 is ITV. So every house in the country can watch AEW on ITV. So it's mainstream now. It's not just on those weird channels like amongst all the pornos and stuff, the 972 channels. I don't know. Why do I know that? But no, it's right there, and like hopefully, obviously wrestling fans in the car. Wrestling fans always come out in their droves because they're a passionate group of people. We are a passionate group of people, but hopefully, casual wrestling fans will come, and hopefully, not wrestling fans will come and fall in love with the sport, the industry, the business, the company. The next year, we do 10,000 more tickets. The next year, the year after that, we do it over 2 days. So hopefully, like AEW is going to keep growing and growing. Wrestling in the UK will keep growing and growing. And then the governor is not just here next year, but maybe the year after, he's wrestling for a title.
Wow, man.
That's the plan.
Very nice. We're getting interrupted by Captain Insane on making a
he's
return from the water.
It ruined everybody else's interview too. Sorry, guys.
He's not sorry. He doesn't care.
But I gotta ask, because the news just came out this week that previously you have signed an extension on your contract here in AEW. Talk us through that thought process a little bit, what went into the decision behind choosing to stay here, and everything that goes into that.
So I joined, so Cody found me, he scouted me, essentially. Yeah. True story, he scouted me. We met each other through DDP. And AEW, I joined AEW at the very beginning. So before it even had a show, I'd signed May 1, or May 1st. When everyone else, all the originals, the Jungle Boys, the MJFs, all those guys, the Pillars, the Darby Allins, I was here then, right? And then it took 7 months to get a visa.
Oh, I know that. I know that life.
Yeah,
I live here now. I understand
really?
That. Yeah.
Well, how long did it take you to get your visa?
About 7, 8 months.
Really? Okay, yeah, well, mate, you get it. You get it, right? And your life's on hold. You can't do anything. You dare and go out and get in trouble, because you get in trouble and get arrested for whatever reason. You get, if you get mistaken with somebody, you get nicked, you get arrested, then the visa's gone. I sat there 7 months, scared to do anything. I eventually got my visa. I was in the US for 3 weeks. It's January 2020. COVID happens. I'm back as the world's going to end. Back in the UK for 6 months. Nothing. Everything was shot. I couldn't even go and train. I couldn't even lock up a minute. Couldn't even put on an arm ringer on somebody. And then I eventually got to the US, and then there for a few months. Then there's been just problems after problems. And then my passport got nicked, which meant my visa got stolen, which meant my visa was essentially revoked. I had to leave the US to get a new visa, then go back to America. It's been a fucking nightmare. And then the issues I had with my 3-year visa, that then expired in September last year. So I had to come back again, take another 4 months to renew my visa. So it's like, it's been so much shit which followed me. It's just frustrations that nobody can control. Like you can't control, I can't control COVID, I can't control my passport getting stolen once I sent it back to the UK to get renewed. I can't control my passport getting stolen by somebody when it's in the USPS, the United States Postal Service. You know, it's like, do you know what I mean? So I can't control how long it takes to get a new visa appointment. So it's been really frustrating. So essentially, like I wanted to renew my contract because no one's seen what I can do yet. And no one's really just seen snippets of what I can do. You've seen I've had one real match in AEW against Cody Rhodes. That was my first real match, and that was after 50 training sessions. 50. Like I had a pay-per-view match after 50 training sessions. I had 2 squash matches before that. I was so brand new. I was so new. I was still in the cellophane. I was still in the cellophane box. No one can see no one's seen what I can do. But no one's seen like how limitless my potential is. So I think I owe it to. I could have went off. I could have went elsewhere when my contract expired last year. But I think I owe it to AEW, I owe it to Tony Khan, the AEW fans, that have been invested in me thus far, to see what I can, to show them what I can do and how big I can get. So essentially, yeah, I like it here. I like the people here, and I just really hope that here I can get the platform to show what I can do. You know, we've now got 2 shows. There's more TV time. I'm ready to go. I'm by the phone, waiting for the phone to call. When it calls, I'm going to answer it. I'll turn up. I'll do my job. And I genuinely believe I can be one of the most enigmatic wrestlers in the world. I think there's nothing really out there like me. You've got British guys. You've got Will Ospreay, who's unbelievable. I don't do what he does. Pac, I don't do what he does. What I can do and the legitimacy that I bring from my former career, like I think there's a gap in the industry, and I think it can be filled by a handsome 6'2", 228-pound figure. And I know you're busy, so you can't do it, so I'll do it instead.
I appreciate that very much. Anybody, Tony, you ever want to give me a call? I might clear my schedule. Talking about Tony Khan, you've spoken about how a face-to-face conversation with him at Fulham convinced you to sign in the first place. What was that conversation like? You talked about, his vision for AEW, but what exactly did he say that made you have to say, okay, AEW is the place for me?
So bear in mind, we had never had a show by this point. This was before the first ever Double or Nothing. This was brand new. It was like, I think it was something like May 20th at Fulham's ground. That was their last game of the season. They played Newcastle and they lost. They got relegated actually that day. It wasn't a good day for Fulham. And we sat there and the whole game, we both love football, both love wrestling. We talk watching wrestling, watching football. Talking wrestling, watching football. Talking wrestling, watching football. He had some big agents. The last game of the season, all the agents come to the game, watch the game. Hey Tony, can we talk about this player and that player? And the whole time he spoke to me about wrestling. He had big stars on leaving in the summer. He could have been like renewing their deal or whatever. He talked to me about wrestling. So that energy, his vision, his passion for the business, I saw firsthand his passion for the business. And by this point, they'd never done a show. I had no idea what the concept was going to be, but his vision for it and his vision for me and where he saw me fitting in and what he wanted to achieve. It's easy to convince someone to do. It's easier to convince somebody to do something when they can see what it is. It's like, oh, we're going to do that. I go, cool, yeah, sweet. When you can't see anything, when it's a blank canvas and they're convincing somebody, it can be harder to get them to do it. But when he speaks to me, Cody speaks, who initially approached me, I was like, oh no, yeah, I'm in. Like, I want to be a part of this new, young, exciting, sexy venture. I want to do this. I want to be a part of this. And I'm glad I did. So circling back to your previous question, I haven't feel like I've shown the world how good I can be yet through no fault of my own, not through AEW's fault, from Cover's fault, from Passport Steelers' fault, from Post Office fault, from things out of my control. And in life, all you can do is control the things you can control. And I can control that by working really hard, getting really good. I got really good at wrestling really quick. And I just want to show the world what I can do. So I think this is the right place for me right now. And whilst I'm here, I want to give it my all. And I'm here right now, so I'm going to give it my all.
Oh yeah, brother. I want to ask one final question about your feud with Cody Rhodes. And I've always thought that feud was done. The US versus UK thing, the foreign heel element of it, was maybe almost done as a way to kind of ease you into the business with a first storyline. It's kind of a very tried and true cliche storyline that maybe was a little bit easier to sink your teeth into as someone coming in for the very first time. But what did you think coming in as your first time on TV on AEW? What was your thought process going in about doing a US versus UK storyline, especially at that time?
So my thought process, we've got to appreciate as well, like as I've been a fan my entire life. That's why I picked up the nuances of wrestling, and there's many nuances so quickly because I'm an athlete. I wanted to get good quick, and I got it. I got the craft. The whole business, and I never was that fan that used to like peer behind the curtain. So when I watched wrestling, I wanted to believe what I'm watching is real. So I didn't want to know their real names. I didn't want to know what they had for breakfast. I didn't follow them on Instagram because I wanted to watch for that 2-hour period. I love James Bond. I don't follow Daniel Craig on Instagram because I want to believe when I watch telly, he's James Bond. Same thing with the wrestling. So I don't really understand the business side of things. I just like performing, and I've had to learn the business in AEW in a massive worldwide global scale. I didn't learn it doing indie shows, in your local wrestling club. So and also their sense of you get to wrestle Cody Rhodes, who's one of the biggest names in the company, and this is what we're doing. I wouldn't even now, if Chris Jericho said to me, hey, we're going to work an angle, you're going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'd go, oh, brilliant, yeah, thank you so much, and I'd work the angle, I'd do what he said. I wouldn't go, hey Chris, rather than that, let's do this. He's fucking Chris Jericho. He's been doing it for 30 odd, he's been doing it for wrestling for almost as long as I've been alive. Like, same thing with Cody, it's in his blood. Tony Khan, it's his company. If they say we're doing this, I'm not going to say, nah, let's not do that, let's do this instead. I wouldn't even say it now, especially with my first angle. I did what I had to do. They said, shoot on America. Okay, so all the thing, I've lived there for the last 3 years, I don't particularly like it. So there's some parts I like, some parts I really don't like. Now you live here now, you get it, right? So ultimately, it's like, I'm going to go out there and say all the things I don't like about America. I'm just going to say it. I want to say all the things I quite like. I won't say that. I'll say all the shit things about it. And there's plenty of shit things about it. So I was being very authentic to myself. I think we could have done it. Again, retrospect's an amazing thing. Hindsight's an amazing thing. I think we could have done the same thing and left the countries aside. But also, it was America's was there Remembrance Day? What's their America's? We have Remembrance Day in November. It was their Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So it was on that weekend. So obviously I wanted to do American, obviously Cody, the American, whatever. So it made sense to do it. We could have done the same thing without the countries involved, in my opinion. But Tony decided to do that at the country. So ultimately, it was what it was. I would have liked to have went bigger. I would like to have done the national anthems. I would like to have done stuff where maybe they sang the national anthem, and I if you're gonna do it, do it big. Do you know what I mean? I would have went to the nth degree to get some real heat. So in hindsight, I got to work Cody in my first storyline. I got to work one of the best wrestlers in the world. The first real wrestling match I had in a big storyline on the TV, and I had less than 50 matches. No person on the planet's not going to say no to it. Is going to say no to that, So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I had fun, and I want more of it. That was people. That's all I've done so far. People talk to me 2 years on. We're talking about it. I wish we could have talked about 10 storylines by now. It hasn't happened because of stuff, but hopefully in 2 years' time we'll talk again. Hopefully before that, because you're a nice man. But hopefully we'll talk before that, and we'll talk about this one. What about you and Miro? You and Malachi Black? You and MJF? And hopefully we'll have way more things to talk about, right? And you can learn, you can grow, you can adapt, and that's what I've done. And yeah, from that experience, I'm way more equipped to go into the next storyline, whoever that may be against, and whenever that may be.
I'm traveling a lot, and when you travel, you got to protect your data. You got to protect your privacy online. NordVPN.com/Fightful allows me to do that. Allows me to browse safely and securely. When you go to an airport, when you go to an arena, a restaurant, a hotel, you're usually connecting to that unsecured Wi-Fi, which leaves you susceptible to having your data stolen, any number of things taken from your private connection or what should be your private connection. NordVPN.com/Fightful makes it a private connection with the fastest VPN in the world a 30-day money-back guarantee, and a ton of other features in addition to that peace of mind that you get when you can browse safely and securely. And I'm talking all your devices. Surface Pro, laptop, desktop, PC, smart TV, router, phone, whatever you're taking with you, nordvpn.com/Fightful will add extra layers of security to your digital life. You can get a password manager, a file encryption tool. Be safe, be smart, nordvpn.com/Fightful.